Can we all just take a moment of silence for this? Oh, the crunch. Oh, and again. The improved 15-hour potato, but this time we're going to do it with beef dripping. So you get that poured over all those lovely slices of potato, plenty of salt in there, give it a good mix, and then in our layer tin, we're going to layer up bit by bit those pieces of potato. Then you're going to cover it up and put it in the oven for 3 hours. Then once it's lovely and cooked and soft, you're going to set it in the fridge for 10 to 12 hours. You've got to weigh it down really heavy though to make sure it stays nice and compact. And then look at those layers when you cut it out. Remember to get your measuring tape out as well. You want them perfect. And then deep fry them until they're golden, crispy, and just absolutely delicious. This is going to be one of the easiest potato recipes out there. It's crunchy. Yes, it is. And it is simple and delicious, and probably one of my favourites. First of all, you're going to need some potatoes. You're going to just chop them straight up into little cubes, and they're going to go into cold, salted water, and you're going to boil them for about 15 minutes until they're just tender and falling off a knife. Then you're going to steam dry them. So you're going to put them into a colander, leave them to dry themselves off. In the oven, place a tray of hot oil and then toss in your little potatoes and bake them off for around 15 minutes until they're just golden like that and just so crispy. I'm going to throw a bit of rosemary on there, a bit of garlic, a little bit of parmesan, and then just dig straight into that heavenly tray. Patata, it's day 21 of 25 days of potatoes, and we're going to make the classic roasty. Now, I am a woman of simple pleasures, so I like them plain, simple, delicious and easy. First of all, you're going to get your potatoes peeled and cut into nice chunky chunks, so you've got lots of lovely potato to cook. Then, into cold salted water, boil them up. I boil for about 15 minutes. It's a long time, but it's going to make them extra fluffy. Then, get some oil into the oven, and once your potatoes are cooked, drain them off into a colander, put a tea towel over it and steam dry them. Then you get all these little white bits. See that fluffy bit? That's the goodness, that's the magic. Get them into hot oil and then bake them off and then turn them once whilst they're cooking. Then you have these plain, simple, delicious potatoes. Grab your potatoes and hold on tight because we're on day 3 of 25 days of potatoes. And this might be one of the best things I've ever made in my life. If the mouthful, oh my god, the mouthfeel, the mouthful, the flavour, everything can chip a 10 out of 10. So we're going to do potato fondants. So we've got our little potatoes, you get them into similar sizes, and then you wrap them with pancetta. Secure it in with a bit of rosemary because, you know, we're trying to be super fancy. We're festive here. We're festive for 25 days of potatoes. Then you get them golden on one side, flip them over, add in a load of clarified butter, add some chicken stock, oh my god, and then you leave them in there until they're caramelised, golden, delicious. The bacon gets crispy, you get the smokiness, you've got garlic in there, you've got rosemary. It's just everything you want from a potato. Oh, delicious. What happens when you take the 15-hour potato and add gorgeous roasted garlic? Just look at that golden deliciousness. So you start by roasting off that garlic in the oven for about half an hour, and then you're going to press it into a gooey, delicious paste. Then slice your potatoes as thinly as physically possible, lavish in a load of smoked salt, smother in goose fat, and add your fresh roasted garlic paste. Massage your little spuds, and then you're going to layer them up and into the oven for 3 hours. And then when they come out, weigh them down and refrigerate for 12 hours. Then slice it up any shape you fancy, deep fry it, and then the best bit. Is there a more beautiful potato? I don't think so. Today I found out that not everybody knows what an orange chip is. An orange chip, I thought that it was like a known thing, but it's actually just like a West Midlands thing. It's just a Brummie thing, it's just a Yam Yam thing. So I had to find out how you made them, and I've done a recipe for you. It's basically a chip that's then battered in actual batter. So do your chips, boil them off, you flash fry them, then into an orange batter which I've flavoured with a bit of turmeric to give it that orange colour. Let me know if you've ever had these. I need to know if it's just me or just... I posted this baked potato ASMR and everyone wants to know how I got that skin so crispy, and I wish there was something chefy to it, but there really isn't. All you need to do is poke a fork in. That's going to let the moisture out and make sure you get a nice crispy skin. Then you're going to have slather it up in vegetable oil. That's also going to help get that crispiness in there. And a load of flaky salt. You want to push the boat out for a baked potato. Then I get it into a cold oven and get it up to 200 degrees Celsius, and you leave it in there for about 2.5 hours or so until it's crispy and 5 simple ways to get the perfect red potatoes. Oh, they're really hot. Number 1, you're going to want to cut your potato into large chunks so that you have more surface area to get that crispy potato goodness. Step 2, heavily season the water that you're going to cook them in. That's going to keep all the nutrients in and give a bit of flavour throughout the potato. Tip number 3, once your potatoes are cooked, you want to put them into the colander and let them steam dry. So I've drained them off and I'm going to put a tea towel over them and leave them for about another 10 to 15 minutes to get extra fluffy on the outside. Tip number 4, heat up the fat that you're going to cook your potatoes in. Tip number 5, turn them once and then put them back into the oven. Oh, look at that. And there you have it. Easy and delicious. Crab pasta. What more could you want on a beautiful summer's eve? Simple ingredients, basic technique, but it is so beautiful. So you're going to get your garlic cloves, get them sliced down, get your chilli all chopped, get your parsley chopped, everything ready in advance. Get your pasta on at this point, and now all you have to do is fry off the ingredients in a little bit of lovely olive oil. We've got our beautiful white crab meat in there, and then you add that pasta in and you add in the brown crab meat. It makes it lovely, saucy, thick and rich and creamy. Add your pasta water in, season it with lemon, parsley, and then just look at the swirl on it. Oh, it's honestly heavenly. 5 ways to make sure your mashed potato is out of this world. Tip number 1, when you're cutting your spuds for mash, cut them into even rounds. Number 2, always cook your potatoes in cold, heavily salted water. Number 3, make sure you steam dry your potatoes. So just put a tea towel over them once you've drained them. It's going to make them nice and dry and extra fluffy. Number 4, make sure you warm up your cream before you add it to your mashed potatoes. Number 5, add your butter to your spuds before you start passing them through your sieve. And use a sieve or a potato ricer to give you that fluffy texture for your mash. Then just add your warm cream into your beautiful sieved mash and enjoy. And there you have it. This is one of the first techniques you learn when becoming a chef. So you want to get your onion, to cut the top off, cut it in half, peel it. Then through the middle horizontally, you want to cut it about 3 times, not going all the way through, you want to protect that root. And then about 5 or 6 times down vertically through, again, not cutting the root. Then you want to turn your onion and start chopping it. You want to use your knuckle as a protector, not as to cut your fingers. And then you chop it just towards the root. And there you have a finely chopped onion. Just wondering, would you like to see more of this sort of content? 5 tips to get the perfect 15-hour potato. Tip 1, use a mandolin if you've got one, but make sure you use the guard, please, because I do not want to be sued when you cut your fingers. Tip number 2, make sure the parchment on top is completely covering the potatoes. You don't want any crispy edges. Tip number 3, make sure whatever you put on top, you really need to compress it. So I'm going to use a load of baking beans, and then I'm loading up some tins as well. Tip number 4, use a thermometer to get the right heat on your oil. You're looking at 180 degrees Celsius, which in Fahrenheit, I don't know what it is. Sorry. Tip number 5, the last one, don't overcrowd the pan. You only want to put maybe 1 or 2 in there at a time so that the oil temperature doesn't drop and it gets nice and crispy. Grab your tatties for a new series of potatoes. 25 days, in fact, in a row. And we are on day 1 of the potato takeover. So we're going to make a pom anna, but we're going to have confit garlic and parmesan in between the layers. So we've got confit garlic, we'll cook that down, and then we're going to make a puree with it, which is delicious and silky smooth. And then with our layers of thinly sliced potatoes, layer it in, pan of butter, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of that garlic puree over, a good sprinkling of parmesan, and you just keep going up to high heaven until that pan is full. You're talking about 6 to 7, maybe even 8 layers. Then a bit of cartouche over, so you put a bit of greaseproof over it, put a plate on there, leave that to cook for about 40 minutes, and you should have this golden, delicious layer of potatoey goodness. You, yes you deserve perfect mashed potato every time. So the Potato Queen's going to give you a little a masterclass. I have studied for 25 years of my life the starches and proteins in potatoes, and I've developed the best recipe. You're going to need a starchy potato like a Maris Piper. Now you're going to need to cut them into centimetre rounds and into cold salted water. You want to simmer them rather than boiling them until they're just falling off the knife like you just saw. Now drain them off and leave them to steam for about 5 minutes so they're getting a bit drier. Now add cold butter into it, and using a sieve or a potato ricer rather than a masher, it'll give you a finer potato mash. mashed potato. Then, if you're adding in a liquid like cream or milk, you're going to want to keep that warm. It's going to get absorbed quickly into the mash, meaning less stirring time, meaning a less gloopy mash. It's just creamy, soft, fluffy, and absolutely fabulous. Would you look at those beautiful potatoes? Welcome to my new series of One Pan Wonders, where I've teamed up with Tefal to show off exactly what you can cook with just one pan. No mess, no faff, just my Tefal Ingenio pan. And for this British tartiflette, you start off by cooking off your bacon until beautifully golden and crispy, add in your onion, potatoes and garlic. Then get a bit of colour on it all, add in your stock and then reduce, and then add in double cream and reduce again, and then add a layer of British Somerset Brie all over and get it into the oven for 15 minutes. And this is where that detachable handle of the Tefal Ingenio range works its magic. Straight from the hob to the oven, and then once it's deliciously cheesy, get it out and serve it up with some crusty bread, and the rest is history. It's the best. You guys loved the onion video that I did the other day, so I'm going to show you how to break down a pepper. Now, you want to top and tail it, and then put your knife in and just work it all the way around the middle, cutting out the seedy bit in the middle. There's no mess, there's no kerfuffle. Look, show you again with the red one. Top and tail, in, and then just barrel roll it. You just move the pepper naturally and it all just comes off. And then you can just chop away until your heart's content, all ready for a lovely, lovely fajita. Now, this is the way that I like to cook rice. There's loads of different methods, but this is the way that an old colleague of mine, Evelyn, showed me. So first of all, you wash your rice and then you use a volume of rice. So I've used this bowl to weigh out, not weigh out, but see a volume of rice, and then use the same bowl to do the volume of water. So I've done 1.5 of water to the same volume of the rice. Anyway, you put it on to boil, you boil it for 3 minutes, take it off, put a lid on, leave it for 12, and then you have beautifully cooked, fluffy rice. Let me know your methods.